My name is Annabelle Lewis, and I'm from London, England. I was 9 years old when I came to America with my mother, father, and older brother. We came here in hopes of acquiring financial stability because we were poverty-stricken when we were living in London. The four of us took the train to the city, where we spent hours filling out paperwork and waiting for the ship to arrive to take us to America. My family and I were considered steerage passengers, so when the ship finally arrived, we had to let all of the first and second class passengers board before us. When we finally made it onto the ship, we were guided into the steerage section, which was already packed with people. Nonetheless, more and more groups of people kept filing in, regardless of the fact that there was not enough room for them. The voyage was a nightmare. I remember thinking that if it was at all indicative of what life was like in America, I would never survive. Because we could not afford first or second class passage, we came through the processing center at Ellis Island. They took each of us individually, and I was afraid that I would lose my family in the crowd. A man in uniform asked me many questions about my family's money, religion, health, relatives. I wasn't sure if I was answering them correctly. Then, the man handed me off to a nurse who poked and prodded me. I remember wondering if she really had to be as rough as she was. Eventually, she nodded her head and I rejoined my family. We were ready to begin our new life. We lived in a tenement in the Lower East Side of New York City because that's where many of the other immigrants lived. Our apartment was awful. No warm water, hardly any protection from the harsh weather, and a permanent wretched odor. The rooms were tiny. My brother and I shared one twin-sized bed, as did my mother and father. Eventually, my brother and I resorted to taking turns sleeping on the floor. My father assured me that our living situation was only temporary and that we would move someplace nicer when we could afford to do so. Because I was only 9, I was sent to public school while my mother, father, and older brother worked. The school was so overcrowded with kids, it was too chaotic for anyone to learn anything. I remember asking my parents if I could work instead, but they told me that I wasn't old enough. I was also told that I was lucky that I even got to go to school, because many other immigrant children were denied the opportunity because of overcrowding, but I most certainly did not feel lucky.